So, some of you might have heard RT America, the network that puts out this show, has been forced to declare itself a foreign agent because it's funded by Russia. Now, this has never been done against a media outlet. And in terms of this show, in terms of Redacted tonight, as I've noted before, I'm an American in America, covering American news for Americans. My father was in the U.S. military for 20 years. I was born at Walter Reed Army Hospital. I'm descended from Walter Camp, the father, the inventor of American football. Seriously, you couldn't be more American than me if you Uncle Sam with a red, white, and blue strap-on, shaped like Abraham Lincoln, while singing, "I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy." All right, my bloodstream, I've got Toby Keith naked rubbing apple pie and Kentucky bourbon on his nipples, all right? And I didn't set out to be on a Russian-funded network. But in my 20 years of doing political stand-up comedy across this country, I found out that the naughty things I talk about, a.k.a. the unvarnished truth, are not allowed on all of the other channels in this great country. If you've taken the red pill and you're looking for the undiluted, stone-cold reality about the corporate state in which we live, with no chaser to even cover the burn, you know, not even a wedge of lime to suck on. And if that's what you're looking for, then this is the f***ing channel you turn to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's just nothing else out there. There are YouTube channels like the Jimmy Dore Show, but that's not a TV channel. Look, trust me, I've had the meetings. If you show up at any other TV network and say, the two-party system is a corrupt, broken crap fest owned by Wall Street, then the executives at that channel will look at you like you just farted into a bowl of horn, auto-tuned it, and replayed it to them with Bill Cosby as your hype man. A lot of the shows on RT America are hosted by people who were kicked out of the corporate outlets because they you know, after they said things that aren't allowed. And when I say said things, I don't mean like they accidentally used the word on air. I mean they came out against our military-industrial complex or our corporate state or the bank-owned faux democracy, okay? Chris Hedges was booted from the New York Times after coming out against the Iraq War. Ed Schultz was sidelined at MSNBC after speaking up a lot about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was largely considered a global corporate takeover, and he was the only one talking about it on that network. Governor Jesse Ventura had a major news show with MSNBC set to go, ready to start before the Iraq War began. But then they found out he's opposed to war. And this is true. They asked him if he could change his mind on that. Excuse us, Jesse, are you flexible on the whole let's not kill 1 million innocent people under false pretenses thing? Can you flippity-floppity on that? He said no, and they paid him like $1 million to get out of his contract. They paid $1 million just to make him go away. They were like, man, I mean, honestly, I would love to be that annoying. That's where the real money is, the annoyance money, all right? Jesse, I aspire to be as much of a nuisance to MSNBC as you were. Mike Papantonio, also now on RT America, called out a major corporate sponsor on MSNBC's Morning Joe, and then Joe Scarborough went on the air the next day to apologize to the corporation. We're sorry, Mr. Corporation. We didn't mean to tell the truth about you poisoning children with arsenic. That was supposed to be our little secret. And then, of course, there's me. I may may or may not have been physically removed from the Fox News building.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
What is Fox News? It's just a parade of propaganda, isn't it? It's just a festival of ignorance.
So, a lot of those who are really willing to risk everything to speak out, willing to lose money and jobs to stand up for the truth, we come here to RT America. But being a born and bred American who wants to just make America a better country, that doesn't stop the assault against us. Because on this show, we talk about redacted news. That is not okay for the ruling elite. And therefore, so many great anti-establishment programs must be branded with a neo-McCarthyist paintbrush. The corporatocracy doesn't have any logical or convincing arguments against what we're saying, so they just attack where we're saying it. As Chris Hedges put it, the ruling elites who grasp that the reigning ideology of global corporate capitalism and imperial expansion no longer has moral or intellectual credibility have mounted a campaign to shut down the platforms given to their critics. The attacks within this campaign include blacklisting, censorship, and slandering dissidents. And considering they've done all of that to us, I have one question. What happened to the honeypots? They used to also throw honeypots at dissidents. Sexy, right? Sexy ladies who would try to get you into compromising position. What's a dissident got to say to get a honeypot? I am ready to be compromised. The corporate oligarchy knows they have no solutions for everyone struggling across America. Look at Flint, Michigan. Look at Puerto Rico. Look at West Virginia. They have no answers for the people. Chris Hedges said, this ideological collapse in the United States has transformed those of us who attack the corporate state into a potent threat because the elites no longer have a plausible counter-argument. They're out of answers. If this were Jeopardy, it's like these two people pointing at that woman and going, Russian! Now, I don't claim to speak for every RT America show, so instead, I'll let the former Director of Intelligence, National Intelligence, do that for me. He proved RT America is weaponized propaganda in a report this year, which included such stunning allegations as RT broadcast, hosted, and advertised third-party candidate debates. What? The third-party candidates? The third-party candidates were allowed to speak their minds? Jesus Christ! What's next in the Russians' mission to crush America? Burning Taylor Swift at the stake? If third-party candidates are permitted to speak out loud, what if Americans hear them? The analysis continued. RT's reports often characterize the United States as a surveillance state and allege widespread infringements of civil liberties, police brutality, and drone use. So, the truth? But worst of all, this is unforgivable. RT apparently alleged Wall Street greed. Where is RT getting this shit? If there's greed on Wall Street, what's next? Beer at a bar? But my biggest question is, why didn't that report quote from this show? I want to see some dude wearing like a suit in a congressional hearing go, Lee Camp says the president of the United States, one Donald Trump, is a pathetic walrus-like pile of fascistic diarrhea who would qualify as a psychopath, except that psychopaths, by definition, have an IQ over 70. Come on, Director of National Intelligence, do a little research, all right? Redacted Tonight is available on YouTube, on Facebook. You can see it on DirecTV, Channel 321. We have a podcast for free on iTunes and Stitcher. Get on it! But here's why these baseless attacks that we're facing actually mean we're doing something right. If you see a show that's being held up, you know, promoted by Viacom or Comcast or Time Warner, like Sean Hannity, Rachel Maddow, Wolf Blitzer, even the late night shows, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Fallon, if they're proudly promoted on your mainstream outlets, then that's because they're safe and cuddly for the corporate state. You are not getting the suppressed, censored news. Now, I'm not saying every show even pretends to be giving you the news. I don't mean you should be sitting at home going, why isn't Real Housewives of Orange County telling me about the fact that the ambush in Niger was blowback for the U.S.-backed invasion of Libya? Heads? I don't understand. And Little Big Shots has really dropped the ball on the prison industrial complex.
You look very handsome.
Well, you better watch yourself, girl.
Yeah, she better watch herself, huh?
So go ahead, watch CNN. You'll never hear about the fact that the FCC will be voting to kill net neutrality in a few weeks, or that facial recognition scanning is coming to U.S. airports, or that 15,000 scientists just gave a catastrophic warning about the fate of the world, saying disastrous biodiversity loss and untold amounts of human misery will happen soon if we don't act. If you want to learn about the censored stories, turn to us. If you want to hear from the same corporations that destroy your lives, foreclose on your homes, profit off your dying mother, and use your tax dollars to bomb children, all of those other channels are waiting there for you with open arms. You can pick and choose from them like a buffet of bullshit. Coming to you from Washington, D.C., the Belly of the Beast is Redacted tonight.